I am Dr. Scott Bottoms. I have the privilege of sitting on Chris and Tanya's board for their missions organization in South Africa. And they are our missionaries. They're your missionaries, our missionaries to South Africa, and we're pretty excited about that. So we just wanted to do a few little questions here to help us out with who they are, what's going on, and what's happening ministry-wise, vision-wise, financially, all these other kind of things. So you've had some changes, and you've obviously with COVID and everything that's going on, you've got some changes coming in the future. So why don't we start off with your financial health? How's your financial health going from last year? Give us a little bit of that going into next year, and then what does this look like down the road?
Well, the ministry finances have been really good. Everything's maintaining. We made some changes before coming back to America, which really reduced expenses. We moved to a new facility. We had to let a couple employees go. And in this period, South Africa's been shut down, so our expenses have been lowered too.
Yeah, I think we're healthy financially, and we appreciate the support that Americans provide. We love America. America feeds the world. America helps us feed people in South Africa. So our ministry financial health is good. Now, we've experienced about a 10 to 12% drop in our donations, and that's because people have lost jobs or people are in transition, and we understand that, but we're doing great. So thank you for asking that question, Pastor Scott.
And I just want to say that we hear how Americans are self-centered and greedy. America is the most generous nation in the world, and the world depends on America. And they say they pray for us every day, because if America falls, they fall. And they always count on Americans to come through an emergency.
Yeah, I agree with that. So logistically, you've changed some things. You had your base of operations, both strategically and financially, were out of Colorado. Now, some of that is going to be changing and moving to Michigan. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, you handle that one.
Okay, I'm happy to talk about that. We had a ministry bookkeeper that worked with us for years, an amazing woman, and she moved, and it just became difficult for her to handle our bookkeeping. So my brother owns a financial organization in Michigan, and he offered as just service to us to help us with deposits and those kinds of things. So our ministry address has changed to Michigan, but we've kept our Colorado status. Colorado is still home base for us. It's just a logistic thing to help us function effectively financially.
Right, makes sense. Now, we've been watching this, Linda and I have been watching this for years, as have the rest of the board members, but also quite a few of the people that support you, that the ministry has grown significantly and through different people that you've brought on, all the things that are happening, but we're seeing a new change recently that has to do with their mindset and how they're looking at ongoing into the future financially. Why don't you explain that to us?
We have to be careful here because we're talking different cultures. In South Africa, there's not the mentality of tomorrow, it's having for today. So we've tried to start a number of small businesses and get the idea implanted people that yes, we can plan and we can work for tomorrow. Like the team working for us, they understand now that having a job means they have income. Income means they can purchase and do more things. Well, our team, since we've been gone on their own, initiated a new project of growing a garden. And their plan is to sell the vegetables locally and to restaurants. And it sounds like a small thing, but it's a giant leap in the thought process of yes, we can move forward and we can continue to finance the ministry.
I think with what we do in South Africa, because we work in rural areas where unemployment is sometimes 80 or 90%, to actually fund everything that we do in South Africa from resources in South Africa is really not practical. But it's important to us that we begin to move and our team begins to understand, like Chris talked about, the importance of contributing to the ministry themselves. So we are excited, that our team has taken that initiative and is actually thinking of ways to fund the ministry.
And we have a young man on our team now. He's been on furlough for a while, but when he comes back, he is a farmer. He's 20 couple, but his family farms. He has his own tractors. He has about 40 acres of land that he want to do this too. So for Portia Dave to start this and him be available kind of meshes together.
That's great.
Yeah. Yeah, that is great. So how about you? Obviously, you are telling us about, and you're going to be explaining in more detail your desire in your heart, your transition into Namibia. What does that look like financially? Encapsulate that for us right now as you explain some of these other things later.
The day we came back to the States, we finished moving our home 1 hour before we left for the airport. And that reduced our rent by 2/3. And the cost in Namibia, along with our current house, will still be less than our former house, if I'm being clear on this. So for less money, we would be able to have 2 bases of operation, one in Namibia and one in South Africa. And our team has proven themselves capable of handling what we do, except for the finances. So we will be able to travel between the 2 countries easily and inexpensively and quickly, just to have hand of both ministries.
And it's hard to explain about Namibia finances because we're just starting that adventure. So we don't know exactly what those costs are going to look like. But by the end of 2020, we'll have made an exploratory trip. We'll have a better idea, and we'll be able to present that by early next year to our ministry friends.
And we still are in the planning stages of Namibia. It's not set in stone.
Yeah.
So this year, because of COVID, we have not been able to have our annual fundraising and everybody just connecting and being able to see the vision of this. So what you're doing now is you're explaining the vision side of it, and you've made it clear to us that that this is not a fundraising time frame right now. These events that you're doing right now are not fundraising. But as a board member, I'm one of the people that have kind of pushed back a little bit and said, but there are people that want to give. We believe in what you're doing, we believe in your mission, we believe in your heart. And specifically with the transition to Namibia, where it's obviously much more of an impoverished area, there are going to be people here that want to give, even if you didn't see that coming. We want to make that happen. And so what do we do about that? How can we do? Yes, this isn't fundraising, but we want to give funds. How do we do that?
All right.
This is the hardest part of everything we do, is the money aspect. And we said it's not a fundraiser, so we want to walk the fine line here.
Well, first of all, normally we do our annual fundraising event in February or March, and we couldn't host that this year. But people gave. And you know what? That is so humbling for us, that people give and they want to contribute and are concerned about the expansion of God's kingdom. So today, if some of our guests want to give, there's some small envelopes on the table. You can just simply put your gift inside that small envelope, and there's a bigger envelope with our logo on it that you can just put your smaller envelope in the bigger envelope, and we'll collect those after our event is over today.
Now, you guys that have been around Chris and Tanya for any length of time know that this is an uncomfortable part for them. But for the rest of us on the board, it is not uncomfortable for us. We know we want to support this. We know we believe in what they're doing. So we are encouraging you to give, to contribute to them. And we love what they're doing. We also know that we need to be praying for them, supporting them in our hearts and our minds all the way across the board. So thank you for taking a few minutes, listening to me pester them about their finances. And we will be praying for you, and we know that you will be praying for them. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
Pastor
you.
Scott.